And I guess that pretty much sums up the car. It is very clear what Deepal is going for here. This is indeed a very solid take on the Model Y, and in some areas, maybe even better. Today, we're going to introduce you to an electric car that rivals the likes of the Tesla Model Y and has a rather ingenious solution to range anxiety. This is the Deepal S07 and is one of just a handful of electric SUVs in the world to have a petrol-powered power bank under the hood. Are you confused? Well, let me explain. See, like all other electric SUVs, this is also primarily powered by a battery pack. In this case, it's a 79.97 kWh unit, which has a claimed range of 475 kilometers. But the real party trick is under the hood. That is a 1.5-liter turbocharged petrol engine, similar to what you see in smaller cars or even crossovers. But in this, it doesn't drive the wheels. Its sole responsibility is to charge the battery on the go, taking the combined range up to 950 kilometers. In simple words, as long as there is fuel in the tank, the car will always be charged. And that makes this the only electric SUV I've ever driven to be capable of doing over 1,000 kilometers without having to be charged even once. It is a handsome looking car, isn't it? Well, the brand says that it was designed in Turin, Italy. And looking at it, the influence is pretty clear. Getting to the front face here and the hood, it gets a clean, uninterrupted design. No harsh cuts or creases. It doesn't have a grille because it doesn't need one. Instead, you get a slim DRL up top, headlamps that are tucked neatly into the bumpers, and in the middle, you have the camera for the 360-degree view. Now, if the face reminds you of the Lotus Electra, well then you are not alone. But hey, when it's this good looking and costs less than half as much, who is complaining? Standing here, you can see that the surface has been designed to aid airflow. And along the sides, the design stays just as clean, with these flush-fitting door handles that sit neatly into the body. If you take a step back, the silhouette does remind you of the Lexus RX in some places. Long and slightly coupe-ish. And then there are the wheels, which get this funky looking design with a dual tone finish. To me personally, it feels like a paper fan mid-spin, but it is subtle and fits the whole futuristic vibe of the car. At the back, the rear glass is steeply raked, giving it a fastback silhouette. And finishing off the look are these connected LED DRLs. And unlike most electric cars, this car also features a rear windscreen wiper. Dimension-wise, the S07 goes head-to-head with the Tesla Model Y. Same length, almost the same wheelbase, even the height is nearly identical. But the S07 sits lower by about 4 centimeters. Now, let's talk about the interior, because despite the minimalist appearance, there are a lot of hidden features here, and all of which can be accessed through this massive laptop-sized 15.6-inch infotainment system. And a key reason to that is because there are no physical buttons here. In here, you can also access 3 driving modes: Eco, Comfort, Sport, and if you want to personalize your throttle response, regen, and steering mode, you can also do that in custom mode. But the annoying thing here is that it always switches back to Eco mode every time you reset the car, which can get a tad bit frustrating. Another neat feature here are the charging scenery modes, which can set a calm tone if you want to take a nap when the car is plugged into charge. Speaking of the charging, Deepal claims that the S07 can be charged from 30 to 80% in just 15 minutes using a DC fast charger. In terms of practicality, you get a wireless charger up front, and a neat feature here are the vents that cool your phone down. Moving back, you get 2 cup holders which can hold a regular sized 500 ml bottle, and you get a storage compartment beneath these fancy leather armrests. For the driver, you get a flat bottom steering wheel where you have access to the media buttons, the cruise control, and of course a 360-degree camera. Behind the steering wheel, you also have the gear knob, which is where you also get to activate the cruise control. Up front, you get a heads-up display that's very bright, even in harsh sunlight. Because the car has a flat floor design, you also get storage underneath the center console, where you can also find a USB-C and USB-A port. The dashboard has a mixture of leather and plastic material, and you can also find the ambient lighting strip running across it. Moving over to the seats, you can option them with either black, brown or white seats, which are finished in perforated leather. A couple of neat features to point out here are that they are ventilated and that they have speakers on the headrest. See, overall, it is a premium car. So you also get premium features like gesture control for answering calls and media controls, like this. Now that the music is playing, it's a good time for us to mention that the speaker quality is also very nice. Speaking of gesture control, you can also access the selfie camera like this. So now let's move over to the back. In terms of rear seat comfort, for a passenger who's just under 6 foot tall and with the driver's seat adjusted to my driving position, there's ample amount of legroom thanks to the scooped out design of the seats. And for people who are seated on the right hand side, you can also control the front seats from the center console, where you can also control the temperature and the shade to this large moonroof. In terms of practicality, you get storage behind the seats and this large cubby holder that can also store a 500 ml bottle rather comfortably. In terms of the seats, you get ISOFIX anchors, and to take that premiumness to another level, you can fold down the middle seat to reveal this large armrest. In terms of boot space, Deepal claims that the S07 can hold up to 445 liters in the boot, and it can also be extended up to 1,385 liters by folding down the rear seats. So, before we start talking about the driving experience, let's take a quick break and watch the sunset. The interior of the S07 feels completely different in the dark, which is why we thought of talking about the driving experience in the evening. And the credit for that goes to this, the ambient lighting system. You get 64 different colors to choose from. And you can also have it in either static or breathing mode. Sitting here in this interior, especially with this color, I feel like I'm sitting in an S-Class. See, driving the S07 is very similar to any other electric car. The acceleration is instant and sometimes even addictive. The steering is also very light, but of course you can customize it from the infotainment. And as with any other electric car, since the battery pack is positioned underneath the car, the center of gravity is also very low, thereby improving the handling around the corners. And honestly, it does feel very confident around it. And though the S07 does not come with air suspensions, the ride quality is quite impressive. On smooth roads like the one that we are driving on now, it does not feel like we are driving on it, it feels like we are gliding over it. In terms of cabin noise, it's impressively quiet. The electric motor just hums along, and even when the petrol engine kicks in, you can barely notice it. And the headlamps are also quite intelligent. It turns on the high beam when we are on dark roads. Alright, so now that we are on the highway, I think it's a good time to demonstrate how the ADAS system works. See, the S07 comes with a full ADAS suite, which includes lane departure warning, blind spot assist, and adaptive cruise control and so on. And the good thing is that unlike many other cars, the ADAS system is not intrusive. It doesn't pull you back firmly as other cars would. So if I'm trying to exit a lane without using the indicator, it just gently pulls me back in. The system also warns me if I'm following a car too closely. The highway is also a good place to enjoy the instant acceleration, because when you want to do that quick overtake, can do it instantly and effortlessly. See, the S07 is not really built to thrill, but of course it can do it if you want to. But it's more focused on making your everyday life a whole lot more easier and comfortable. And for what this car is trying to be, that's exactly what you want, isn't it? Now don't think that this car doesn't have a sense of humor, because I'm going to show you a feature that's, let's just say, is inspired by the Tesla, but it's fun nonetheless. Because hidden among the different modes is this. And I guess that pretty much sums up the car. It is very clear what Deepal is going for here. This is indeed a very solid take on the Model Y, and in some areas, maybe even better. See, while Tesla offers you the badge and the brand buzz, it still comes with a major point of concern, which is range anxiety. And Deepal tackles that with its range extender technology, leaving you with everything good about owning and driving an EV. Yes, with a price tag of 150,000 dirhams, it's not exactly cheap, but it is considerably more affordable than the Tesla. So with the S07, Deepal is offering a Model Y alternative that's easier to live with, offers better passenger comfort, and is honestly better looking. See, the biggest takeaway here is that if this is where Chinese EV tech is headed, we can't wait to see more. Now, if you feel like buying the car outright is not a feasible option for you right now, you can always opt to either rent it from the self-drive app or even lease it.